Hey, Reggie. And we are now live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 1 Million Cups. If you have not had the opportunity yet, please check in on the app. You can download the app in either the Play Store or the Apple Store. Or it's very simple to create an account. Once you sign in and select Fairfax, X County, Virginia, you'll be signed in for the event today. Next slide. We are a entrepreneurship mastermind, and our mission is to lower the barrier of access to education and resources in connection for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. Next slide. We are very strong about having presentation, not pitches, making authentic connections, not networking, and run for the community by the community. We provide a safe and supportive environment. Here at 1 Million Cups, we are co-owned by all who show up and support, radical and intentional in inclusivity for organizers, presenters, and attendees. 1 Million Cup is all volunteer led, and we rotate new organizers often and fill your presenter pipeline together as a community. Each week we ask that you attend, provide feedback, engage online, and get our news is by signing up through our social media or through the app as well. Oh, we always welcome new presenters, and you can always apply at 1 Million Cups /Fairfax. Next slide. Our organizers that are on this morning are Donnell Johns, Jen Dalton, Tony Burnett, Myosha Mendes, John Yu, Melinda Siegel, John Rutenberg, myself, Justin Wilson, and Russ McIntosh. Our coffee sponsors for this morning are Office Evolution and Dr. Deb. Is Sylvia on this morning?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sylvia Ferguson, and I'm the Business Center Manager of Office Evolution Tyson's Corner. We're one of the sponsors, and Office Evolution supports small business owners. We provide private offices, conference rooms, and virtual services such as a professional business address and phone services. So if you're interested or you're in need of any of these, please reach out to me. I put my information in the chat, and I would love to talk to you or give you a personal tour. Again, my name is Sylvia Ferguson, and I'm with Office Evolution.
Thank you, Sylvia. Dr. Deb?
Good morning. Good morning, 1 Million Cups. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be a coffee sponsor this morning. I am Dr. Deb Cohen, and I am an author, a trainer, management consultant, and I also do some expert witness work. And in my previous lives, I've been a college professor and an association executive. But in my current practice, my passion really is in helping organizations and people be better managers and in developing the skills and competencies that they need, whether somebody's an individual contributor or a manager. So it's also my passion to help organizations facilitate strategic conversations. And while we can't be in person today, what I will do is put some content and hopefully some humorous information into the chat box, because one of the things that I like to do is to provide resources that organizations can use and help them see what they need. So have a great session this morning, and remember that behind every successful person is a very substantial amount of coffee.
Thank you, Dr. Deb. This morning, I just ask that everyone please keep their microphones on mute during the presentation and during the question and answering portion, and our moderator will announce for you to speak. If you have a question, please raise your hand and in the chat area, or you can write a question in the chat area as well. Once the moderator says your name, unmute your microphone, say your name, who you're with, ask or make your comment, and then put your microphone back on mute. Today, we'd like to present James Samuels of Pluribus as for his presentation. The floor is all yours, James.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Renetta, for the great introduction there and for the opportunity to be here today to discuss and present to 1MillionCups Pluribus. Before I get started, I do want to level set and give all honor, praise, and glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, my Creator, God the Father, and I thank Him for His Holy Spirit, which enables me to do all the things and have the breath of life that I do. So I just want to put that out there, let everybody know that foundation in my life. I also want to give credit to my wife, who is Dr. Evelyn Teague Samuel, who is on and supporting us on social media today and at home, taking care of our family, our legacy. Thank you, babe. I love you. Renetta, again, thanks for the invitation. It's amazing opportunity and privilege to be here. And I'll speak briefly, and then I'm really interested in hearing your comments and feedback about Pluribus, what we're building, and who we're here to serve. So if you will, go to the next slide, please. So as an overview of the company, we're about a year old now. We incorporated last September of 2019, and we incorporated with the mission to make the world a better and safer place for all people. We have a couple of provisionally patented technologies we use to do that, which I'll speak about in more detail, but that started our journey. We developed our first technology. It's called Anjel Tech, and it's now in the App Store. So you can go out to the App Store for iOS users. It's Anjel with a J, A-N-J-E-L .tech is our website, or Anjel Tech is the name of the app. And it is your own personal body camera. And so there's a need, a great need to secure our life, our liberty, and our pursuit of happiness, especially as African Americans in this country, minorities as a whole, but then for all of humanity. And so that's our first technology. We are also developing in the background a technology called Our Ways. And Our Ways uses what we call identity-based navigation to help each and every person and someday machine find their best environment and their best set of services, their preferential routing for safety and for services. And it started back in 2017. In 2017, my wife, whom I mentioned, and our two young sons were in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were getting ready to drive to Granny's house, my mother-in-law's house, my mother-in-law's house, in Huntsville, Alabama. And so we put into our navigation system from Atlanta to Huntsville, and we set off. And we get about halfway into the trip, and the kids fall asleep, which is, great. It's a beautiful day. We're enjoying the scenery and each other's company. And then we both have this moment, this pause, where we look around and we realize we don't like where we are. We don't know where we are. We've trusted the navigation system, and it's taking us someplace where we don't feel safe. So I said to my wife, there's no reason in the 21st century that this system shouldn't have known enough about us to help us find a safe and preferential routing for us to get where we want to go safely and find the services along that route that are for us and, not against us. And so that's when it came up. I said, we need our own ways. We need our ways, which will help us, which will factor in who we are when telling us and helping us get where we're going and what we're seeking. And so that's where the idea for Our Ways and identity-based navigation came from. And so we launched the company based on that technology, and Anjel was a feature inside of that, which we separated out earlier this year. And I made the announcement on 1 June, but it was really around the 25th of May when George Floyd was murdered that we made the decision to take Anjel, which is a live streaming personal security system, as a feature inside of Our Ways, take it out and make it its own standalone app and launch it. And we've just done that. It took us 5 months to go from idea to App Store, and it's out there now. And we're working on the Google side. So that's kind of the background. Next, please. So these are screenshots from the app. Again, it's your own personal body camera, and it's out there. And our goal is to help mothers. Our mission is to help mothers, and Black moms in particular and first, but all moms eventually, protect their kids' lives so that they can have liberty, pursue happiness, and meet their life's milestones, have joy, graduate from high school, go to college or get their first job, buy their first home, learn how to drive a car. If you go even farther back, go to prom. These life's milestones are not assured. And so we have to secure, protect our lives so that we can meet these milestones, have a legacy and pass on, to our posterity so that they can have the same. And so that's what Anjel's designed to do. And that's for whom it's designed, but it has so many other applications, which I'd love to hear from you guys about what your thoughts are, from elder care to domestic abuse, to trafficking, because it's geolocated and because it's cloud-based and secure. There's lots of things that Anjel can do as a platform. And so we're starting with African-American moms as our first segment, and then we're rolling out to others thereafter. Next slide. So I think I've kind of covered this. We're starting with those minority travelers because there's a lot of institutional knowledge, if you will. If you recall Victor Hugo Green in the Green Book, essentially Our Ways is a combination of the Green Book and Ways. And so we're taking that institutional knowledge that Victor Green and other pioneers and the travel craft. The PBS special just came out called Driving While Black, talked about this thing called travel craft, which we as a people have gained 401 years worth of knowledge in, and we're rolling that into a 21st century AI-enabled Internet of Things, big data tech solution to provide that and to pass that on. But then the other uses, of course, as I mentioned, are abused and trafficked persons, and then eventually the whole world, all 7.8 billion people of all diverse cultures and backgrounds and likes and preferences, you name it. The LGBTQ community can use the same technology to find their safe and preferred services and environments. Next slide. So why are we unique? Well, we're founded, and before I go any farther, Deb Cohen, thank you. I met you in the roll up to this. I was telling how I came to 1 Million Cups, and it was because of you, Deb Cohen. You mentioned back in Borough Place about a year ago, this group. So thank you for, it was a pleasure to hear your voice again, and thank you for that, that connection.
You are most welcome. Thank you.
So what makes us unique? We're a company of minority founders, first of all. We're technologists, secondly. We have experience. I have 30 years of federal service in national defense and national security. I'm a member of the Senior Executive Service. I've deployed to Afghanistan and Djibouti. I've led teams in those countries in the geospatial and the map making and the where are you and where are things business for national security. And we're rolling that, and my team is just as steeped from a national security perspective. We're rolling that into personal security, and that is unique. I believe I challenge anyone to show me a more dedicated, committed, competent team to do this, especially with our background and our cultural institutional knowledge. So we're providing that security and that peace of mind. The accountability piece is huge, and all the other things you can read there that I've mentioned. What's missing are, if you just watch the news, is a sense of security for all people, in particular minorities, and in particular in America. And so we're seeking to fill that void and that gap by providing this service and this tool, and it's revolutionary. And we can't wait to find a larger group to use it. Next slide. So competitors, Facebook, the Clutch app, Bond app are just a few, IG. But what they don't do is they don't make it personalized for you and your family. They don't notify you via text and email if and when something's happening to your loved ones. They don't tell you where they are in space and time and how close you are to them, which is the location and the geospatial and the mapping component of this. They're not discrete in their viewing notification, and social media just goes to the world. With Anjel, it goes to your friends and family, so they can know where you are and come to you and or provide help. It's all of those things and more. Next slide. So my challenge question, what I need and what I would like, and I appreciate this group for, is how to connect and build that user community, how to find those right users of this technology, as manifold and various as they are, and connect with them so that we can save their lives and help them and their kids meet their expected life's milestones and have joy. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, James, very much for your presentation. There's a lot of questions I know that are going to come up from the group. Just to remind folks, if you click on participants, click on the blue hand or raise your hand. If you're having trouble finding it, drop a question in chat and I'll make sure that we come around to your question. So I'm going to hand it over to Talmar as our first question. Talmar, go ahead and kick us off, please.
James, thank you so much. Excellent presentation. Love it. Have billions of questions about exactly the tech, but that's not what we're here today for. So I really think you hit the mark on the life milestones as a way to connect with the community, right? So I think of when my son is going to drive and all of the anxiety that goes along with that, especially in the minority community. I think that is just, if mothers is the market you want, you've really identified, that's the moment, right? When we're thinking about getting them in driver training, this is the time to have this tool and start getting them used to using it before they're officially allowed to start driving out and around themselves. I know that's a very specific way to get in, but I think that that's exactly a great point on that. And then, I think to my niece going to demonstrations and those kinds of things. So I think that a mother who is concerned about a child that is trying to find their voice, and you want to let that independence go, but you want to make sure that you are still able to be there if they need it, and that they're protected in all the ways that technology allows us. I think that that's a big part with teens that are coming out and they're starting to go out. And then the elder market, I mean, it's just huge. I have personal stories of my, loved ones just pulling them out of places because it's a really big thing. So please keep up the great work. Love it.
There you go. And we're done here. No, I'm just kidding. Great job, Talmar. I do think that personal message, and I guess a follow-up to Talmar's question, James, are you working with any driver safety training groups as partners, just as a teaser to Talmar's question before I go to Manipa?
No, we're not yet. At this point, we're just starting our marketing push. And so if you're in the Fairfax, Virginia area, you'll see a couple of buses with our ads on the back. If you're in the Westchester, New York, or Wilmington, Delaware, or Nassau County, New York, you'll see some buses. Starting tomorrow, if you're listening to Radio 1 stations, you'll start to hear our commercials playing on Radio 1 to connect that user audience from a minority and African-American standpoint. And so we're just beginning that push out into building that user community with all of the things that Anjel can do. And so again, that's my challenge question. That's our challenge question is how do we methodically and intelligently and consistently build that community up for all the things that it can do and whom we can serve.
Can you describe just briefly, when you think of a user community 2 years from now, what does that look like? Is that a online forum? Is that resources? Just to give us a little bit of clarity on that.
Sure, I've given this some thought. Others have mentioned, hey, you can make this into a social media app and then build a community that way. And so for us, it's a family-based process, okay? Because we're here to protect the institution of the family and the preservation of that family's legacy and those life's milestones. So for us, the user community is through the family. And so I'm not sure family advocacy groups, I mentioned domestic abuse, which is on the rise right now. I mentioned, of course, elder abuse, and that's horrific. And so really it's through those family advocacy and support groups we see our community taking best root and flourishing, but open to suggestions and comments, of course.
Okay, perfect. Monifa, go ahead, please. Just make sure you unmute yourself.
Well, good morning. I am very happy and pleasantly surprised that you have a business like this. When I got out of the military, I was working for Walmart at their home office in Bentonville, Arkansas. And I was instructed through some friends that there are some places to never stop. Don't get gas, don't get lunch, just keep going. And this is, of course, from word of mouth. And also, my friend wanted to drive across country. I moved here from Las Vegas. And my friend, she's one of my best friends. She is white, but she said, let's just drive. And I said, we have to plan this out. There are things I need to think about that you don't need to think about. And so to know that you are roping all this in, not just for minorities, but for other people, and that could be used for safe zones when they're traveling. This is highly important, and especially to someone who likes to travel and in their own country doesn't know where to go, where they could be received well, or it's safe to eat. So I don't have a suggestion right now, but I thank you for bringing this to the forefront.
It's my pleasure. And, those kinds of stories abound. I think every person actually has those stories. Every human being walking has those stories about where to go and where not to go. It's exacerbated in the 401 years of America as an experiment based on our history for African Americans, that experience. And so, as I mentioned, that institutional knowledge that's usually, like you mentioned, passed by word of mouth, we're seeking to capture that and make it available to all people through this technology. And so it's social in that you're going to get to add your institutional knowledge to this platform, and you kind of create your own map of where is safe to go and not to go, and help us refine that data such that we can capture it all and then make it available to everyone based on who they are. And so I have stories. We all have stories about that, but that's why we're doing what we're doing. And so you're welcome. Thank you.
It's beautiful and well needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Monifa. We love having you. We love having you here and seeing you every week. We have a lot of people wanting to ask questions. So I want to make sure we keep these concise answers, concise questions. So Eddie, go ahead, please. Just make sure you unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm unmuted. James, hi, good morning. Good app, right? Wonderful. Why do I want it? Right? There's other apps that are similar, right? For example, not exactly the same, but similar. For example, Live 365 is one of them that's out there. Find Friends, that's out there, free with my iPhone. Why do I want your app instead of Live 365, for example? That's my question.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the question. It's a matter of preference, right? We all have choices. We all have options. We're trying to create an option that is most uniquely tailored to our user community and that starts with them in mind and that builds around their experiences and that takes their institutional knowledge and brings that to bear. And I just haven't seen that. I haven't seen it as an African-American male where there is a technology and a company that is catering to my life's journey and my experience. And so that's why you show me one that is built like mine and for our reasons, and I'd be happy to consider it. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, but James, the camera portion, right? I'm talking specifically now about Anjel, right? And Anjel is a personal body cam, right? So the camera portion, I get the camera portion is unique, but it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know, this is the first time I've heard of your app, so I don't take this wrong way at all. But beyond the camera portion, there is a location portion, right? And as a parent, if my kid is blah, 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 I want to know where my kid is. And so, I guess what I'm saying is there are several
Tomorrow's
out there that go right.
schedule is as follows.
Make sure you're on mute,
I'm
please.
going to be going
Make sure you're on mute.
someplace like where? No, I'm going to go.
There we go. Go ahead, Eddie.
Okay, I'm trying not to be long. James, I guess what I'm saying is in as much as good as the intention is, I think the app is good, right? I think you're going at the right way. The goal, of course, is to get everybody to use it, or get tons of people to use it, or get tons of people in the African-American community to use it. And I wonder about cost and differentiation, to encourage folks in these particular demographics to use the app.
No, great question. And again, because we have choices and there are options out there, it's going to be really important for us to differentiate ourselves and to build that community. There are things that make us unique. But if you look at any of the giants out there, you know, the iPod wasn't the first MP3 player, right? It just connected to its audience the best. And so we desire to connect to our audience the best, to serve as a guide and to serve as an assist to help them do what we in our hearts feel and know we want for each other and ourselves. And I haven't seen another company that is that deliberate in reaching, you know, right to you based on your experience, who looks like me in that way.
Thank you, James. So we're going to keep going. Deb Cohen, go ahead.
James, really wonderful to see you here today. Thank you very much for the presentation. This is not a question, but a suggestion for you. There's a fellow by the name of Jason Howell, and I'll put the information in the chat box, and he's written a book called The Joy of Financial Planning. And you might say, why am I suggesting that to him? His focus is actually on the family unit as looking at this as a family. And so while he does financial planning and what you're doing is not exactly the same, he might be a great person for you to talk with in terms of how has he connected with people from the family perspective, because I think that's a great angle that you've identified for yourself.
Thank you again, Deb, for everything, and especially that.
Sure.
Thanks, Deb. And Melinda, go ahead.
One of my big thoughts was tie-in partners and sponsors, because I looked at your website before, and I guess there is a fee a monthly fee to get some of the security features that you're talking about. So I was thinking about home security companies like ADT, Vivint, Smart Home, Alder, and others might be good tie-in partners, and also organizations like AAA, where they have their AAA locations across the US and Canada. And I may be able to help you with that because my husband works for the association for them. That would be a really cool thing to do. And the last thing I wanted to say is car manufacturers and or things like CarPlay, so that, I mean, everybody's is listening to something in their car. And if you could tie it into the car where you could just push a button before the cop walks over or whatever it might be, so that you can capture everything, that would be probably easy to do if you could start with the car manufacturers getting behind it.
Yes, Melinda, thank you in advance for the connection to AAA. I think that's huge. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And there are several different integrations and iterations of Anjel that I haven't gone into. A lot of it's proprietary, of course, but one of them is the integration with the other cameras in your presence, whether they be in your car, rear view, side view camera, whether they be in your home, and integrating that all through this platform. So the natural relationship with the ADTs and the car manufacturers is right here, and we're working on that. We're also working on the voice activation piece of it so that you don't have to touch it to activate it. And there are other iterations and integrations we're working on, but yes, thank you. And thank you.
John Rudenberg, go ahead.
Hey, good to see you all. In listening to you, I actually heard you talk about two products within Anjel, the body camera and the preferred safe routing. Am I correct about that? That really they go hand in hand?
No, sir.
Okay.
There are two different products. One is Our Ways, one is Anjel. They were tied together until George Floyd happened, and then I separated them to push Anjel out in front. But Our Ways is the preferred routing. That is the Green Book meets Waze navigation. That's Our Ways.
Okay.
And Anjel is this different service.
Okay. So there's organizations, as Melinda said, that to partner with would be excellent. And I don't know the right acronym, but the analogy would be to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And clearly, Mothers Against Discrimination must exist. And I'm sorry if it sounds irreverent, I say it with so much seriousness because the problem you're tackling is critical to America returning to normalcy or having normalcy. So it makes me sad that you have to tackle it, but I have a lot of confidence that you can find the Mothers Against Discrimination and partner with them to get your product, the body camera, into the hands, however it's best distributed. But I would go narrow, would be my suggestion, because the market has to be so big and there'll be plenty of applications, but get it right and easy to use so that people take it on, because it'll be fraught with big brother issues. I'm sure you're aware of that, I imagine, and I don't know how you tackle it, but keep going and partner up with a large influencer in the Black community to get adoption.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Will do all of those things. And I agree with you on the narrow start, that ball peen hammer approach into to build the larger community back end, because there's so many different ways you can go with this, but we want to build loyalty and adoption in a small group first. Yes.
James, just a quick follow-up question. Have you thought about doing a freemium model where people can download the app for free and the fee only kicks in when they start to do live stream or recording? Because that type of adoption can go a lot faster if it's freemium, where they can at least get on board and then pay when they use it.
Yes, we have thought about that, and we're still thinking about that. We're trying to do testing to figure out, what is the best way to do that. Also, just sort of a 30-day or 60 or 90-day trial, so you can start with that. So that's in consideration right now.
Okay, great. I'm gonna go to Reggie Holmes, and then Rosemarie, and then Tony.
Hi, James. Great presentation. So I didn't want to share right away because it's very personal to me. So I wanted to really listen and think about it for a little bit before I responded. But I think it's a great idea. It's a product, whose time has come, unfortunately, but it is necessary. And I think the question I would have or thought would be, I feel like a product like this needs video. Things happen when there's video, and it will allow people to see scenarios where the product can actually help, because we can talk about it, but the reality is when you see it happen, that's when things change. And when people have experienced things like what you described, they wish they had this, and I think that's what a video and that medium will be able to communicate, is that, here's a situation when this product can save your life, basically. I feel like this is it's not just tech, for people like me, it's a survival tool, right? It's a quality of life tool. And I think that message is stark, but that's kind of the level that it's on for me, is that, something like this it's not just a piece of technology, another app on my phone, it's a survival tool. And so I feel like you need to communicate that in your messaging, but in a way that is positive. And so I like the way you talk about, pursuing life and pursuit of happiness. Like, these are American ideals. These are things that everybody can get behind. So I do like that, but I think that in the storytelling part of it, visual, the video medium will allow you to really be able to show people and not just tell them. So, and then the only other thing I would say is that I think that people, because it is technology based, and there are a lot of apps that just use my data. You know, I don't know where it goes. I don't know what happens to it. But as far as the community, I think for them to get behind it, we want to know that my data is not going where my data goes with all these other apps. That, you know, obviously if it's about security and safety, that will, I'm giving you this data about me and where I go. I need to be assured that that part of it is secure also. So I think in the messaging, just letting people know that you're not a big tech company and you don't do the things that big tech companies do with my data. That'll make me feel like, all right, I'll choose you over some of these other options. So.
Thank you, sir. First, I felt your heart in that response and that question. I could feel with you the experience somehow. I just felt connected to you as you were saying that. I'll come back to that in just a sec. We're a tech company. We are designed to be a big data company, but with values and a conscience and to serve humanity. And our core values, if you look at our website, spells trust. And that's the truth, the thing and the person, respect all lives and people, understanding all settings, the service to humanity and to each other and to our fellow man and women, brother and sister, and then teamwork. And so trust is a big part of this. We have a policy that's built around that, protects your data, it's securely stored in the cloud, and you own it. Unlike social media companies where they own it and they can decide to take down your post, you own this data. Your family gets this data first. Then, you know, if the police officer's body camera is not working, you already have the footage. You have the audio, you know where it happened. And if it's close by you, you're going to go there. You're going to be there because many of these events take time to transpire. As in the case of Trayvon Martin, when he was stalked by George Zimmerman, he was close to home. He was a young teenage boy. And, you know, Elijah McClain was close to home. He was walking back from the convenience store. So many of these things happen close to home. And so by letting parents know where their children are when they need them most, we believe we can serve very well. I'll say this last thing, because as you were speaking, Nina Simone was kind of ringing in my ears, and I could just sort of, I was feeling, you guys have heard Strange Fruit, no doubt, right? You know that song. You know, southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the ground, blood at the root, black bodies swinging from the southern trees, strange fruit hanging from poplar trees. And it ends with the word crop. The last word in that song is crop. Here is a strange and bitter crop. And we are going to eradicate that crop one person at a time. We're going to save one life at a time and save communities, save futures. So that's what I was feeling to hear when you were talking, but thank you, sir. We'll do.
James, I could listen to you talk for hours because I love the way you share stories and convey the gravity of the situation. One thought would be to consider partnering with universities in the DC market, maybe even have a student plan, because even going across campuses, GW, American, George Mason, that is also a young group, young demographic, young women, African-American minority that also need support. So just a thought for that. And I'm happy to introduce you to folks at George Mason and Georgetown, if that is helpful. Rosemarie, go ahead, please.
Good morning, James. Thank you for your presentation. I can tell your heart and soul is in this, so thank you for bringing that. I want to come back to your challenge question about how do you connect with and build the ideal user community. I don't know if you're already doing this, but I would strongly recommend outreach to your church community and to start with a referral program. Having a paid app is great to make people value it, but it's really powerful to allow them to be ambassadors on your behalf. So you want to get some early users who are enthusiastic and then offer them the opportunity to pay down what they pay you by bringing more people on through a very simple referral program. And what that means is that your beachhead is small, and then what you plant in that beachhead takes your business forward for you without you investing more than some small portion of whatever that ARPU is for you, right? So that's one thing. And Jen, your idea about going to the local universities, colleges is great. I would say not just the big names, obviously the HBCUs, also the sororities, because what you're going to have, you know, there's a very strong sister community. They are very deeply engaged, not just with their universities as alumna, but also with their churches and their families. And, you know, they will take it forward for you. Again, another great group. And very connected to the community. And this is what you're building here, is community by community by community. So if you can make your beachhead some of those very community engaged organizations that are deeply rooted where they live, then they will take it forward for you. But great, you know, great ideas here, and thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Will do on all of those fronts. And enterprise licenses would be one way we've thought about doing this for those shelters, you know, domestic abuse shelters, you know, so enterprise license for universities. Absolutely. I can see doing that.
I'm going to do Tony, Ronetta, and then Eddie. So Tony, go ahead.
Okay, James, thank you very much. This is going to be more of a technical question and then a suggestion based on that. The current functionality, is it working through an existing navigation system, or is it utilizing your own geographic information system to provide the information that people can then share based on what their experiences are as they go through neighborhoods?
Tony, we're still developing that. We have an open source mapping platform we're using to build on top of, to build that kind of layer and that shareable layer. So we're working through the technical aspects of that, but it's not built on a commercially available navigation technology. It's something else.
Okay, because my thought was that it's nice to have this app, and I don't want to go into the socialization of it. I want to discuss more of actually adding it into existing technology and providing it as a layered service to others who are using existing mapping and navigation systems. I think that you're going to have a heavier lift trying to sell this on your own to different communities in different areas. But for instance, if this is offered as an add-on feature to, say, Waze, where people could sit there and subscribe and have it plug into Waze, so when they're using the Waze app, it provides the information that your app provides to them as they're driving through unknown neighborhoods and stuff like that. Because in the very beginning of the presentation, you mentioned the fact that their neighborhoods, people know the neighborhood. They know where they live. They know where they shouldn't go and what they shouldn't do. But now with things going up, a perfectly safe neighborhood at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock that night is no longer that same situation. And having to go to the same app to check, you don't think about it. It's a mindless thing. You're going through that neighborhood because you know that's the route home. You don't know that there's something going on. But if you have something integrated in, say, Waze or your normal mapping system, then it gives you a pop-up and a warning that you're approaching something, which is what Waze does. You're approaching an area. Like, for instance, they give you a flag when there's a police or there's a traffic accident or something like that. Have you thought about trying to approach some of those companies and integrate it that way?
Thanks, Tony. Yes, the API, the plugin you talk about, we thought about making this an API as well as its own standalone. And you're right, we'll look into that in more detail.
Okay, because that's if it's something that's a layer onto something you know somebody already uses, it's a much simpler adoption.
So I just want to be mindful of time. We have time for about 2 or 3 more questions. I'd love for people to please keep these short. Renetta, go ahead, please.
James, great presentation this morning. I know we've talked about this before, but an idea as far as building the community, we briefly spoke about possibly introducing this as a program or an idea to also assist with police officers and other law enforcement agencies, social workers, and things like that. Have you thought about that as a possibility as well when you address the issue of elderly abuse and also sex trafficking? And those would be communities also to bring in to really build out Angel as well.
Yes, Renata, thank you for that. We'll look at all of those different fronts in the right order. You know, we hope and pray, but all of those are in the realm of possible. And so you're absolutely right. Thank you.
Deb, go ahead, and then Eddie.
So James, the idea itself obviously has a lot of legs. There's no question about that. But it seems to me that there's also potential interest in this from a social perspective. And so I'm wondering how you might get some media attention. So if somebody could focus on, you know, here's an app that has been created as a result of some of the things that are going on and as a result of the fact that it's needed. So how, you know, is there a way to connect to the media community? I have one person in mind that I'm going to forward this to that might be able to help, but on your end, if there's a way that you can try to gain either local media attention or certainly from one of the national chains, I would think that it would be very interesting on something to report on.
Thank you. Yes, I'll take all the help we can get there. We need the exposure for sure. So open to suggestions and assistance.
And Eddie, if you can ask a short question, that'd be great as we get close to wrapping up.
Short question. Okay, James. So I'm coming at you hard today, James. First of all, app's wonderful. Things a great idea. There's a camera, right? Camera is involved, yes? Okay, so I looked at the app in the App Store, and Angel, A with the figure above the head and the wings. That says to me, Angel, like I'm dead already. You see what I'm saying? Angel, you know, somehow I'm thinking guardian, walk side by side, bodyguard. Isn't there a name like along that line? Because Angel, you know, hey, I don't want the angels to come. I want the bodyguard to come before to protect. So I don't need the angels. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm going. That's my 25 cents.
No, I do. I appreciate it. Thank you. That you're right. That's another way to go about this. We chose Angel because our background in our community that we're starting with and that we're steeped in is one of the Judeo-Christian, you know, foundation. And so Psalm 91 says, he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all of your ways. He shall bear you up lest you dash your foot against a stone. And so that's why it says that over the camera lens. It says, and he shall give his angels charge over you. This is another one of those angels that helps keep you and preserve you and protect you. Over.
I was reading it as glass half full, angels to protect you, not glass half empty. But I appreciate your question. It is important to think about names and context like that. James, what are a few of the sort of key takeaways, things that have stood out for you, just as you've gotten feedback? Any gems that you want to make sure you reiterate back, because you've got a lot of good questions and ideas.
It's all been amazing, Jen. I'm so thankful for the chat and somebody writing this down, because I would have been scribbling frantically and frenetically. The partnerships, right, with the colleges and the universities and the AAA, the media attention, the national exposure, making an easier beachhead. Someone mentioned, I forget who that was, and an on-ramp, you know, through the freemium based or kind of trial subscription. Those things stand out. It all has so much merit. So I'm going to go back through and get all of these things and really dive into them. And I look forward to reaching out to you all, if you will allow, to get more information and to noodle some of these things out some more.
Yes, the trick now will be to prioritize and pick where to focus next. I don't think anybody brought up sort of beta partner programs. or if you've gone out and done focus groups with each of the segments, because you talked about elderly, you talked about youth community, you talked about minority groups. Is that something you've already done, or have you had focus groups in those different segments?
We've done some sensing, we've done surveys in the African-American culture and community so far. There's another version of our commercial that's on our website, the family setting, which actually in this room that I'm standing here now talking to you from, that shows not just the African-American perspective, but it shows the Hispanic-American family having the same conversation, and it shows the LGBTQ family having the same conversation, and an Asian American family having the same conversation. And so we haven't released that commercial yet, but it's already filmed, and we'll roll it out at some point to look for those other affinity, groups and to build those relationships more broadly. But again, we're trying to start small and grow into those different areas.
Fantastic. That's very exciting. I can't wait to see that. I'm going to hand it over to Donnell to ask one of our final questions before we wrap up our meeting with events and upcoming presenters. Donnell, go ahead.
James, phenomenal presentation. I just want to thank you for sharing your story and everything that you're doing for the community. You're a veteran like I am. Unfortunately, you chose the wrong service, but we won't hold that against you. At the same time, thank you again for the tool that you have to support our community as a whole and those life and liberties that you and I fought for. My final question to you is how does our 1 Million Cups community continue to help you support in your success?
Thank you, Mr. Johns, for this community, for starting it and growing it and for bringing it together. I'm privileged and humbled and honored to be here today to represent my team at Pluribus and our mission to make the world a better and safer place for each and every person on the planet and someday machine, which didn't even talk about the machine kind part of this technology. You've done it. You have given me so many ideas. I look and seek to stay connected with you and to serve this entrepreneur and veteran community. So just keep your arms open for me, and I think that'll do it. And I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank Karen Kershan for being here from Bunker Labs. And bringing your team over and supporting our brother in arms today. So thank you, Karen. If you'd like to take 1 minute to talk about Bunker Labs.
She may have had to drop off. I'm not sure, Donnell.
Okay. Well, I'm handing it back over to you, Jen. Thank you.
Well, thank you everybody who joined us today. James, again, fabulous presentation. This will all be available on YouTube later today. Please make sure folks save your chat. There's a lot of great information from all of our attendees. Attendees, please drop the info in chat as well. And Renetta, if you want to walk us through the last couple of slides, that would be great. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks again, everyone. Our community is filled of entrepreneurs, and we are filled and passionate about them. And we're looking to support and learn more about other entrepreneurs. We always invite new guests every Wednesday to attend and to present in order for us to keep building in the community. Next slide. Our presenter schedule for November 4th will be in camo. On Veterans Day, we will have a special presentation. And we are also, again, looking for a presenter for the 18th of November. And in December, we again have some openings. We will be having presentations from Sharing Solace on December the 2nd and Everest Master on December the 8th. Next slide. We have several upcoming events that are listed here. Here we have a Chamber of Fairfax, Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce, or their website is listed on here. Or you can look there for any upcoming events as well. We have Young Professionals Monthly Meeting, Growing Your Sales, Creating Sales Velocity, presentation by Kevin Carr on Wednesday, October the 28th at 6 p.m. And tomorrow we have Women in Business is Brown Bag Series, is Reclaiming Your Space, with a presentation from the organizing mentors, or Lisa Rigoni. And that would be from 12 to 1:15 tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, November 3rd, we have Entrepreneurship 101, Starting a Business in Fairfax County. Do we have any other upcoming events to be shared?
Karen, if you're still online, do you want to say something briefly about Entrepreneurship 101, since that's your event?
Sure, thanks, Tony. And I'd also like to share tomorrow at 10 a.m. we have an event. It's COVID-19 pro bono webinar. The Economic Development Authority has partnered with the Fairfax Law Center, Fairfax County Law Center, along with an organization, a nonprofit called Start Small, Think Big. And the focus of the webinar is on a service that's provided. It's a pro bono service provided to all businesses. There's a one-page application form online, but it's free legal services, free financial services, and free marketing services. So it's a pro bono collaborative, if you will. I don't have the link readily available, but I'm not sure how much longer we have. I can post it in the chat. But it is free. It is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. It's for 1 hour in length. It really is a great service. If you think about what you would pay for legal service, the financing aspect will assist you. If you've gotten PPP money, it will help you navigate the conversion of a loan to a grant and all those other questions that you may have. And then marketing. If you find yourself in a situation where you need to acquire new clients, where you need to pivot and look at new strategies for business development, the marketing assistance that's provided pro bono is also a great tool for you. So I will give me 1 minute and I'll post the link in the chat. And Entrepreneurship 101 is a monthly event that we host, and it's for people that are interested in starting a business or people that are new to Fairfax County and need to identify resources and the process in which to get your business up and running. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
I highly recommend attending the Entrepreneurship 101. It's a great program. There's a lot you don't know until you attend it. So thank you, Karen, for being here. We always love seeing you.
Thank you.
All right, last chance to drop comments in chat. As far as questions, ideas, thoughts, contact info. Thank you again, James, for your amazing presentation. Thank you for Deb Cohen and Sylvia from Office Evolution for sponsoring. We really appreciate it. That means a lot.
Don't forget
we are looking for more applicants. So thank you for everybody who has been referring entrepreneurs to apply. You can apply at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. This isn't a great group. We have a lot of free, thoughtful advice for business owners. So please spread the word. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Karen did just drop in the link to the pro bono event for tomorrow, so please check it out.
Can I have one comment? So on the event, if you're interested in attending, disregard or just ignore that tickets not available. In the center of the page, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a button that says register here. But just ignore where it says tickets not available and just click on the button that says register here. And we still do have some openings, and I look forward to seeing you on the webinar tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen, so much. James, you are welcome to come back every week. We always have love having past presenters join us and show up. So thank you again. Round of applause for our presenter, for everybody who came and gave feedback. We're going to do a quick snapshot of the screen. So if you don't want your picture, you should turn off your video. And otherwise, we will see everybody next week. Have a wonderful week and take care.